Hello everybody, welcome to another little analysis video. Today I wanted to talk about Seoul's pick composition against the LA Gladiators and kind of conceptualizing exactly basically what's going on here and why exactly they did what they did. So to lay out some early definitions so that nobody's confused while I continue to ramble my little Overwatch jargon, a pick composition is a composition of heroes that is going to look for very early kills very quickly, right? So it's a composition that does lots of burst damage. With Reinhardt's Charge, with Roadhog's Chainhook, and with Doomfist's Rocket Punch, you can kind of see that in action, right? You're looking for very quick kills. You're not looking to really poke anybody out, not like a Soldier 76 or even for instance, McCree to some extent, even though McCree can be a little picky. But for instance, a Soldier, right? A Soldier is more of a consistent damage threat. He's going to sit there and load clip after clip into you and just keep you at very low health and finish you off with a Helix Rocket. Or maybe he, keeps you low enough that a Tracer comes around and cleans you up. But that's not exactly what Soul's running. Soul's running a pick comp. Think burst. Think very quick damage, very early. They're looking for early kills to gain a just numbers advantage. A 5v6 is always great, or a 6v5 is always great, I should say. Now, the way that they approach the point is also key as well. So again, this is a burst composition, a pick composition, if you want to call it that. But it's also a very close range composition. So we have Reinhardt basically has a hammer, Roadhog has a shotgun, and Doomfist has a hand shotgun, right? And the way that they approach the point A on Hollywood is they rotate around this little way, they come through security, and then straight onto the point. The reason why this is because it's creating lots of cover for them, so that if LA tries any shenaniganry, they try to attack them early as they approach the point, they have to attack into a very defensible position for Seoul. If you're in a building like this one, it's very close quarters, so that plays into Soul's hand. If they try to attack them in security, again, very close quarters, plays directly into Soul's hand. So keep that in mind as they approach the point, and I will stop it once there's a little bit of some interesting positioning that maybe LA could have done to create a little bit more pressure. And it's right here, actually. So why or how could LA create more pressure here? If they're familiar with this composition and it's kind of applied with the logic that they know or have seen this composition before, or the D.Va Scout at the beginning of the match did see them, it's tough. It's kind of hard to see the angle of what D.Va can see, what D.Va can't see, and how maybe he turned around too early that he didn't scout it. But that said, if LA knew that this was coming, what they could do is they could take an early fight in this kind of open space. Again, Soul's running 3 tanks. D.Va's a little bit more mobile than the other two, but this team lacks mobility, and it's not like you really want to use Amp It Up to speed into an early attack, right? So if LA takes an early fight here, they can duck and dive around here, use their mobility, pressure the supports, maybe get a fade out early and dive onto the Moira. Maybe they pressure out an early Amp It Up so that the push onto point A is a little bit slower and it's a little bit, has less healing to it, which is always nice. I'm not saying that LA could have won a fight here. It's possible that they could have. What I'm saying is they could apply a little bit more pressure to make this execution by Soul a little bit harder and not so drastic and dynamic. So as we pivot back onto Soul's kind of POV here, again, they just bum rush the point, they blitz right in, and here they have full control of the point. It's hard for LA to do much of anything at this point because, again, Soul's playing a close range composition. Now that they have control of the point, it's still quite close range. If they really need to, they can back out into Cafe down this way, and they can just back into the Cafe and take a brawl, right? This is kind of another way you can call this composition. Maybe it's a brawl composition in your eyes, but as we're going to see, Fisher really can't do much of anything. He gets followed by Fleta, is marked very well, and takes an early kill. Same with Zunba on Bishu. Now that LA has no tank line, it's very difficult for them to make any ground. Seoul is going to basically take all the ground from them, and they have no room to work with whatsoever. Now, why did this happen? Why did LA just get completely rolled over? There's a couple reasons, and it kind of is centered around the Sombra pick. Now, Sombra in Overwatch League on the tournament realm is the more supportive Sombra, where she hacks health packs. She kind of controls the pace of the game. She's trying to silence people from using abilities, and she heals her allies with the health packs, which also generate her ult charge, which is the kind of key engine here, right? What LA wants is they want to take some consistent damage, heal it up, give Sombra her ult charge, go back into the fight. And they want to rotate that out over and over and over, and they just keep wanting to chain that together until she builds her ult. What Seoul kind of did here quite sneakily is they didn't shoot anybody when they came out of the point. And how could they? They don't really want to burn Hook that early. I guess they could have, but, we didn't see Zunba go around, or Munchkin, I should say, sorry. We didn't see Munchkin, looking for any pressure here. We didn't see Miro tossing out any fire strikes, and Fleta doesn't really have much. He doesn't really have any way to cause any consistent pressure, so that the engine here, the engine being Sombra, is completely starved. And obviously, if you have an engine without any fuel, it doesn't run. Now, again, another point here that we have to kind of concede here for LA is that they don't have a ton of damage. Your damage sources here, oddly enough, are Asher and Shaz. The Zen here is going to be probably outputting, if not more damage than the Sombra. It's maybe comparable depending on the level of play that the players show up with that specific day. But Sombra doesn't do a ton of damage. She's there more of a control threat. She's there to generate and continuously chain together these EMPs to make Soul's life very, very difficult because they can't use abilities, right? But what Soul's done is they've starved the engine. They've taken the fuel out of the engine. They've bum rushed the point. They blitz under the point. They use their close quarter nature to fight in close quarters at all points possible. And they steamroll this point. But that's pretty much all there is to it. What LA could have done earlier, like I mentioned, is abuse early information and abuse early mobility to kind of pressure Seoul into, using abilities that they didn't have to kind of attack the point. And it's just pressuring them and using cooldown, forcing them to use cooldowns so that the attack on the point is less severe. It's a little bit less drastic. I don't know if LA would have won the fight if they would have taken it early, but again, it's just pressuring out abilities, making this less severe, right? But that said, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter, which I will leave in the description. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.